Hello then team, how are we doing? Welcome to an episode of AFC Thames with me, DoctorBenjyFM, as the semi-professional outlet from London continue their rise through the divisions. And if you missed last episode, you will be unfamiliar with the fact that we have been promoted, and today is one of sort of those in-between episodes. We don't have games until September, but this is very much the transfer update. What have we done with the limited resources that we have and the balance of, well, not a lot of, I want to say not a lot of money, I mean almost no money. We've got a little bit of manoeuvrability on the wage budget, and we have maximised that to the max. We will be in £1 million worth of debt, I suspect, by the end of the season, something close to that anyway, maybe 800,000. It's not ideal. And we've had to bring in some players. Some players have left, some players have had to be brought in. And the big thing, the big thing we have to talk about at the very, very start of today is something I didn't want to have to tell you, but Adam Smith has gone. And the most frustrating thing about this for me is that I would have offered him a new contract, a contract that I'll probably sign and go and sign with somebody else, but he will forever be the greatest one-season wonder in this series. We signed him from Oxford United, 24 goals in 39 appearances, a 7.21, a phenomenal year, and now he's just languishing as a free agent. It's not like he's been signed by anybody else. He doesn't want to talk to us about rejoining. And it's meant we've had to spend big on a replacement for him. And he's not the only man that's left. Marvin Ewell, one of our youngsters, has gone to Cirencester, I think it said. Fair enough. I mean, he might turn into a really good player one day, but we're not going to play him that much right now. It made sense for him to leave, and an offer came in, and he accepted. A couple of other released players then. Sonny Carey's one of them. A player that never really fit in around here. For whatever reason, he just didn't fit the style that we were playing at the time. 29 appearances over the course of a few seasons, and has now moved on. Last year barely featured, so I'm not too sad about it. But I am sad about Jack Thorne. He can't run, so in that sense, it's fine. But he had really good versatility. We saw him used in central midfield a lot of the time because of the good versatility that he offered us. So he leaves as well. Free agent. So it's still only 26, so we might see him around the leagues again. You never ever know. And they're the outs then. Sonny Carey, Adam Smith, Jack Thorne, and Ewell's gone too. So who's been brought in? Well, the fortunate thing about playing at this time is lots of these names you won't recognise. Norwich fans might remember Reece Hall-Johnson, who was part of their youth successes of a few years ago, but the rest of the names I doubt you're overly familiar with. So let's go through them. Let's talk about how we've added to this team and how they make up the rest of the squad. So let's go through one by one. The first one we've got for you then is Ibrahim Bakari, who looks like a really solid centre-back, 3-star current ability. We'll sort of go by the star rating, so there's not a huge amount to go off other than that. Of course, the attributes look pretty strong to me. Decent composure, decent concentration, and again, 10 marking, 10 heading, 10 tackling. You can see the lack of yellow is going to start to be a concern for me going forward into this season. Physically looks okay as well. Agility and balance is left wanting, but great strength, 6 foot tall, and joins us from Halesowen Town. We went through the Halesowen situation before. I think it's just Halesowen. And speaking of Owens, Chris Owens has come in. Of course, Thorne has left then, and this is the man we've chosen to replace him, and I could not be happier. Can run a little bit quicker, 5'8", decent crossing, decent tackling, decent passing and marking as well. Some of those mentals, absolutely to die for. Look at those. Great composure, great leadership as well in this side, and that's what we're looking for from our fullbacks, to be a man that we can depend on at any time we need to. Comes over from the Welsh leagues, and I'm hoping he puts in a really good shift for us in the Vanuatu National. I think he's ready to make the step up to the level. So Chris Owens, welcome. And speaking of fullbacks, let's go into him now. Reece Hall-Johnson, 32 now, so of course if these youth times he had very early on, I don't know, like sort of Todd Cantwell, that era of player, right? So you can sort of get an idea for it. Has been around a little bit at the National League at Dagenham and Redbridge. We've picked him up. We're probably going to use him as a bit of a backup. I don't think he's going to start that much, but really good mentals again for this division. Could definitely be someone that we can rely upon if we're struggling for players in those areas. Yeah, 32, decent backup. We're happy with it. And we'll keep this moving, shall we? Jermaine Geddes is coming as well. Central midfielder. I wanted more depth here. We had a real issue that if Angus Brunt or a Cohen got injured, the backup to those boys was left wanting. We didn't really have anybody that I felt comfortable with bringing in. Like McCready was there, but I wanted something extra really, and I've brought a couple in. Jermaine Geddes is the first of those. You can see why. Regen as well, which is always nice to see, has been around a little bit. Started at Woking, Thatcham, Whitehawk, has been around these lower divisions. I think he's ready to step up at this level if relied upon. Really great teamwork, good passing ability, and again, enough of sort of those highs, 8s and 9s, 10s to fit in here. So I think we'll be okay. Good work rates as well. Physically looks okay too. So we've got a decent player here. Can also play out on the left side of a midfield 4 maybe as well if we choose to do that. But I'm happy. All right, 5 more to go. We'll save the best till last. Backup goalkeeper. Look, we are very happy with Fleming in goal. Of course we are. But it's nice to have someone to challenge him if he's not playing up to scratch. We've gone for someone quite well rounded. 6'1". Declan Lampton comes in. 26 years of age. I think he's going to be just a decent backup to push Fleming a little bit here and there. You can see it's been around an awful lot in the Vanarama South and things like this, and last year didn't have an overly successful season, so it won't start for us by any means. But again, just to give a little bit of competition, another goalkeeper of decent quality. You don't want to bring in someone who's sort of like half a star ability, something like that. So we've gone for someone who's already relatively decent, but not quite good enough to start right now. So he'll be happy with playing backup. That's quite important too. Next up, Saul Radcliffe. Now, Saul Radcliffe is potentially one of the best additions we've made. Fantastic teamwork, and that's what he's going to offer us. Whether he plays central midfield or up front, he comes in as a striker, right? 15 goals in 40 last season for Gosport Borough. We probably played against him on a couple of occasions. And now we bring him in, again, really well-rounded attributes. I wasn't really looking for a player that could stand out physically or for finishing necessarily, and 6 finishing is not the best. I sort of concede that. But at 22, decent squad player, again, somebody can bring on to work hard late in games, hopefully. The work rate's okay for this level, as his decision making, as his teamwork. Someone that can maybe support things if it's not quite working out. Similar to Marsh Hughes, right? That's sort of what we've gone for. Marsh Hughes without the finishing. Marsh Hughes, fortunately for us, still here. And we have brought in a striker to play alongside him. We'll come to Damien Duckworth in a minute. Chris Fenwick's up next. Central midfield option again. Wanted to bring in a few more options. A Cohen, Brunt, so important. We've got to have players ready to come in. Chris Fenwick looks like a real delight, actually. Real good player here. Some nice attributes. A lot more yellow on this guy's profile than some of the other ones we've seen. Joins us after starting his career at Sunderland. Had a really good year in the pitching in South Premier for Worcester last year. And I think the step up into these divisions actually isn't all that great. So I think he'll be fine. Welcome, Chris Fenwick. Again, going to play sort of a backup role, but I'm really happy with the addition that we've made. Mark Scott is another centre-back that I'm really, really happy with. That teamwork, determination, really good physical attributes, great tackling on him as well. 6 foot tall. We're not a huge side, but you can see straight away, the ability-wise, really, really well-rounded. Great aggression, great bravery. Started at Altrincham a few years ago and spent a little bit of time at Solihull Moors in the Vanarama National. So I think it's been a really good pickup for us. 18 years of age, could be here for a little while. You think if some of those attributes begin to improve, we could have a really good defender on our hands, a defender that could be here for not just this season but future years. Even if we were to be promoted, he could definitely be a backup, I think. Really nice ability. So yeah, welcome Mark Scott. It's funny, isn't it, if we changed the 10 attribute to be yellow, some of these players would look phenomenally good. But yeah, we're upping it slightly now as we go towards those higher divisions. We're trying to see the quality in some of these boys. So yeah, Mark Scott, welcome to the team. And then finally, I've teased it enough now, he's on a big wage. Welcome Damien Duckworth. We needed a man to replace the big man up top, Smith. 900, because more than I thought, £900 a week for this poacher. Damien Duckworth, great name, which I'm really happy with to begin with. I think this is the type of player we need right now. A finisher with good composure, good off the ball. We've got a couple of strikers to play more supportive roles. At that point, no, I still needed a finisher. 5'11". It's an interesting career, right? He's been at Cardiff Met Uni. He's been at Mansfield. He scored 8 goals last year in a loan spell at Radcliffe in the National League North. I'm looking for him to make a big step up here. He's going to have to be pivotal to the successes that we make. And similarly to last season with Smith, I think this is going to be the right player to play alongside Marsh Hughes, who's going to continue his role on that left-hand side. The right balance of creativity and goal scoring. Now, this team is pretty close to completion. There isn't too much I'm going to change in terms of personnel from now. Of course, we're going to be on the lookout. I should say as well, Mark Scott is on loan, but it's someone I would look to buy. I should have mentioned that a moment ago. When I say having him in future divisions, I'm hoping at the end of the year we can buy him off Solihull Moors, no matter what happens, really. And if he can become a player that plays for us, I think there's real ability in that man. You can see, though, the squad is getting better and better. There is a key place where we have got problems, though, and we still are without high quality wingers. I love Flynn Lincoln. I think he's he's just a speed demon, isn't he? And last season, 9 assists, 6 goals. It's pretty good. On the other side, Tyrese Lewis is another one that's contributing, but are they contributing quite enough? Are they scaring teams at the back? Sonny Best is another one. Again, decent year for us. They've all had very similar years, but do we need players that do that little bit extra in wide areas? I'm going to keep an eye out for them. It's the one position I've really struggled to find players for. We'll keep looking for them as best we can. But as the rest of the side goes, they're still developing quite nicely. Dean Fleming, you can see, still got some nice attributes there. Good handling, decent reflexes. Some of those mentals are really nice. There's good jumping reach. 6'3", and of course has been capped at youth level. I say been capped, been called up at youth level for England. So who knows how far this boy will go in his career. Thomas Ings continues at right back for us this year. Physically really good. You can see, though, we are going to be one of the weaker sides in the division. I think that's becoming quite clear quite quickly. Reeves there as well. Lewis King, of course, a key part of last season. Whether Mark Scott wades into this at some point and plays alongside some of these other boys, I think it's quite likely. Lewis King probably going to be the man to step out, as Mark Scott is likely to come in. Chris Owens at left back now, going to be solid for us for the entire year, I'm hoping. And again, we talk about them all the time. Cohen and Brunt, these are the two guys. We love the creativity of Cohen. That 15 passing is something that's so rare in these divisions, and the well-roundedness of Angus Brunt. Again, having seen the players we've brought in, you can see why I'm such a big fan of these guys. I'm sure you can. Really, really quality player, and will continue to be that for us for hopefully a long, long time. We're going to try and keep him contracted for as long as possible. Some of the boys on the bench then, they're going to have to make an impact when called upon. I'm expecting this to be an incredibly tough league season. You can see it there. Some of the sides we're facing off against. Some of these Fleetwood boys, when you compare the players we've just looked at on our side, are incredibly good. We are going to be surviving. That's the key of this season. Picking up points where we can. We can't bounce straight through into League 2 just yet. I was hoping we'd be able to pick up a few more quality players, but it hasn't happened. We need to establish ourselves. You've got to remember, when Thames were forms, I didn't make them a super team that were going to flourish straight away. We made the most average side in the 8th or 9th tier of English football, and now we're building up and building up and building up. We've got the same owner now for 5 years. We're going to have a point where either the owner makes us so much better, or we can continue to build just from being good on the pitch. There needs to be some point in where we rise, and this is still the new era, right? Cementing ourselves in this division this season, pivotal. I look at some of the sides in there, Bradford City, Yeovil, right, Kettering are in there, and the likes of Fleetwood and Scunthorpe that are going to be challenging. We just have to pick up points against these lesser sides. Eastleigh, Dulwich Hamlet, Maidstone, of course, who were promoted with us, and above us, Gateshead. I'm going to keep looking for players. Again, we don't start the season for another month or so. It starts actually at the very start of October. We still have this National League issue that exists within the game. So when I said we've got games coming up, they are friendlies that I've had to arrange. A couple of tough ones, a couple of easy ones. And then we'll be back tomorrow for the start of our season against Barrow. I'm hoping to bring a few more players in. Of course, this takes a little bit longer to go through 4 months of games, so I wanted to make sure there's an episode today that you could see the update on the transfers. And again, we will look to bring in some more players. Our budgets are extremely tight right now. There might be room to maybe bring just 1 or 2 extras in, but bringing players in of real quality is going to be difficult, and we will do our best to do that. Hopefully you enjoy the journey, though. This is by no means over, right? We are very much at a point now of this is where the build begins, and we had it last season and it has to continue this year. I think this year's going to be tough, though, and I'm not going to shy away from that. That first month looks pretty difficult, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. If you are, make sure you drop a like on it. I'll be back tomorrow for our opening games. If there's anything you think we could do maybe to improve the squad even further, do let me know in the comment section. I feel like we've got a lot of the bases covered, though. Lots of options, but we still need players in wide areas. I'm expecting a lot of these boys who you can kind of see compared to the rest of the division, right? That's our best left winger. If we just take a look, just to give you that final comparison of the best left winger in the league, Taylor Hart. Actually, he's not all that good, but we looked at some of the midfielders. They are very good. This guy, 18 agility, would walk into my seed. Aaron Corodenes from America, he's very, very good. Caldin, who was actually at Maidstone last season, so maybe that's someone we could deal with. And Lomas, Dean Lomas as well, another decent player. Great dribbling, great pace. It's just some of these mental attributes that are so difficult to deal with, which is why I focused on them. I've moved away from technicals a little bit. I'm focused on getting players that I think can just handle being at this level. Right then, that's going to conclude. If you enjoyed it, do drop a like on it. Make sure you subscribed. And the final thing to say today is I've started playing Grand Theft Auto Roleplay. There's a short video on my second channel. If you'd like to see me do more of that, go over, give it a watch. Here's a highlight from it. And yeah, it's a good time. I might start streaming it as well over on Twitch. See you soon. We're having fun. All right. I'll keep that under wraps. Let's go, boy. What was your name, fella?
My IRL name is Harry.
Yeah, but what are you known as on the streets?
Harry.
Okay.
Oh,
no, it's just Harry. Oh no, who's this?
Stay engaged, you need a push.
Yeah, please, mate. This has been a problem.
Yeah, no worries. Give it a push.
Just smash the shit out.
Oh, mate.
I'm not gonna lie, that's not gone brilliantly for me. I'm kind of regretting saying, yeah, give me a push, if I'm honest.